If you think you've heard every story of betrayal and redemption, you must watch this. What I discovered in a freezing public shelter didn't just break my heart, it unraveled a $2 million lie so cruel, it changed the definition of family forever. Stay until the end, because the final twist will leave you speechless. And if you believe in justice, hit that like button and subscribe to True Kindness Tales. Your support helps us uncover more stories that need to be told. The numbers always made sense to Alexander Vance. They were orderly, loyal, and told the truth. His billion-dollar empire, built from a single patent, was a testament to logic. But one number had always been an exception: the $2 million trust fund he had established for his adopted daughter, Alara. It was the one calculation born not from a business plan, but from a love so fierce it terrified him. He'd found her 15 years ago, a silent, wide-eyed 7-year-old in a struggling state orphanage during a charity visit. He, a man who commanded boardrooms, was commanded by her quiet stare. The adoption was swift. For 5 years, he was Dad. He taught her to ride a bike on the manicured estate lawn, soothed her nightmares, and her laughter became the only currency he valued. Then, his world collapsed. A plane crash took his wife, Alara's champion. Grief mutated into a paranoid suspicion, seated by his cold, pragmatic sister, Margaret. She's not your blood, Alexander. She's a gold digger, waiting for her payday, Margaret whispered, as he drowned in loss. Blinded by pain, he made the worst decision of his life. He sent 15-year-old Alara away to a prestigious Swiss boarding school, a polite exile. He provided, from a distance, burying himself in work. The monthly reports from the school were impeccable, the trust fund disbursements for her care and tuition, timely. For a decade, this was the fragile piece. Until his 50th birthday, when a forgotten file sync revealed a discrepancy. The $2 million trust fund, meant to mature and transfer to Alara on her 25th birthday, had been drained and closed 2 years prior. The authorized signatory, his own signature, digitally forged. A forensic audit traced the money through a labyrinth of shell companies, all leading back to a single point of origin: his sister, Margaret, his most trusted confidant. The Swiss school, when he finally called in person, had no record of Alara Vance ever enrolling. The truth was a sucker punch. For 10 years, Margaret had fabricated a life, sending him fake reports, photoshopped images, and stealing the life he'd meant for his daughter. Where was Alara? The private investigators hit a wall. Until a tip came from a social worker who recognized Alara's childhood photo from a charity case. The location was not a Swiss Alpine campus, but the Hope's Harbor public shelter, 30 minutes from his office tower. Please help us keep these stories coming. If you're feeling the chills already, show some love with a like and subscribe to True Kindness Tales for more journeys from darkness to light. The shelter smelled of bleach and hopelessness. Alexander, in a $10,000 coat, felt like an intruder in a tragedy he had authored. His eyes scanned the crowded room, over cots and weary faces, his heart a frantic drum against his ribs. And then he saw her. Not in the memory of a giggling child, but as a woman. She was at a far table, helping an elderly man fill out a form. She wore a faded blue sweater, her hair tied back in a simple ponytail. Her eyes, the same gentle hazel he remembered, were tired but kind. She was his Alara, a fragment of a lullaby he used to sing lodged in his throat. He watched, frozen, as she moved with a quiet efficiency, offering a blanket here, a warm smile there. She was not a resident seeking solace, she was a volunteer giving it. This detail shattered him completely. He finally willed his feet to move. Alara, the name was a whisper, torn from him. She turned, and for a second, there was no recognition, just polite curiosity for a well-dressed visitor. Then, her eyes widened. The color drained from her face. The clipboard she held clattered to the floor. Dad, the word was not joyful. It was a breath of pure shock, laced with a decade of pain. They sat in a bleak interview room, the gulf between them an ocean of lost years. Her story tumbled out, halting and raw. At 15, Margaret had taken her not to an airport, but to a bleak foster home, telling her Alexander wanted a clean break, that she was an unwanted burden. The trust fund. Alara had never heard of it. She'd aged out of the system, worked minimum wage jobs, fought for every GED and community college credit. She'd been homeless twice. Why? She asked, her voice breaking. I waited for you to come. For years, I thought I'd done something wrong. I wrote you letters, to your office. I thought you just didn't want me. Alexander wept. He, the titan of industry, wept with the helpless agony of a failed father. He showed her the audit, the forged documents, Margaret's treachery. He told her of his own grief-stricken blindness, offering no excuse, only a crushing, abject apology. I failed you in every way a father can. I don't deserve your forgiveness. But I will spend every second I have left making sure you never want for anything again. He saw the war in her eyes, the wounded child versus the resilient woman she'd become. Alexander did not bring her to a penthouse. He understood, now, that luxury was meaningless. He booked a quiet suite in a modest, dignified hotel. Your space, he said, handing her the key. For as long as you want. No strings. His first act was not to restore millions, but to sit with her for hours, listening, truly listening, to the story of her life. He met her friends from the shelter, the community college professor who had believed in her. He saw the person his wealth had failed to create, empathetic, tough, and profoundly humble. The legal machinery against Margaret began with a single, devastating phone call from Alexander. The money is the least of it, he told his sobbing sister. You stole my child. You will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The police were already involved. The $2 million was frozen, soon to be returned. But Alara was uninterested in the fortune. One evening, she said, the money, I don't know what to do with it. It feels like blood money from a life I didn't live. Alexander, finally wise, replied, then we build a new life with it. You decide. And she did. With Alexander providing logistical support but ceding all control, Alara founded Second Harbor. It wasn't just a shelter. It was a comprehensive transition center, offering not just beds, but accredited counseling, job training, legal aid, and subsidized apartments. The initial funding came from the Reclaimed Trust Fund. Alexander, in a move that stunned the financial world, matched it tenfold from his own wealth and pivoted his corporate foundation to support it. The grand opening was not in a boardroom, but in a renovated warehouse. Alara stood at the podium, Alexander beside her, his pride for her eclipsing any business achievement. This isn't about charity, she told the gathered crowd of former residents, social workers, and press. It's about restoration. Everyone needs a safe harbor to find their way back. Alexander looked at his daughter, no longer the ghost in a ledger, but a force of nature. He had found her not to restore a princess to a castle, but to witness a queen building her own kingdom. He had come offering a fortune, but she had taught him the true currency, kindness. Their relationship was a delicate, daily rebuilding, a coffee shared, a past trauma acknowledged, a future planned together. He was learning to be her father, and she, in her infinite grace, was teaching him how. This is why we tell these stories. From a $2 million lie in a cold corporate ledger to the warmth of a shelter built on true kindness, Alara and Alexander's journey proves that it's never too late for love to find a way. If this story moved you, if you believe in second chances, hit that like button, it truly helps us reach more people. And don't forget to subscribe to True Kindness Tales and ring the notification bell. Because every like and subscription fuels our mission to bring you more real-life tales of hope, redemption, and the undeniable power of the human spirit. Thank you for watching, and remember, kindness is always a choice.